Premium Blend. It's a company that developed wine-based spirits that allow venues with only beer and wine licenses to serve cocktail-style drinks.
Hello, this is Gino Santos, president of Premium Blend Cocktails.
Premium Blend Cocktails. I'm not deep into the licensing. Are you the one who came up with this that said there's a need, there's a crack in here that we need to help some people?
I'm not going to take credit for being the person who invented it, my brother and I, but we are the ones who perfected it. We started the business because I was out on the road and I found a product that was wine-based liquor substitute. And being familiar with how difficult it is to get a liquor license, I said, wow, this is a great idea. And when I approached them, they weren't really being successful with it. So I decided, let me give it a shot. Took it, went out in the world, started selling it, saw that there is a need for it. Then my brother and I, Henry, we created our own brand with our own flavors, our own labels, because we understood they weren't successful because they didn't understand the marketing that needs to go behind any product in the alcohol industry. So
if you could clarify that a little bit.
Yeah, actually, when you go to anywhere, a restaurant, bar, amphitheater, stadium, anywhere, and you have a liquor license because they got a lot of money. Liquor licenses are very expensive. They get into 6 or maybe 7 figures if you're in a hot area like a Miami Beach, let's say in Florida, and they're limited. The states provides them on a population basis, so there's only so many the state will actually give you, which are not expensive at all, but since they're limited, they go fast. So anybody who's out there in the world trying to do a business and serve cocktails, they try to secure a liquor license, they got to buy it on the open market. That's where those inflated numbers come from, costing thousands of dollars. So it's very difficult to do. It's very challenging for a small or medium-sized location. Family restaurants, almost impossible. But then there's another tier of licensing, which is called a beer and wine license. In Florida, it's about $400 in a handshake. There's no limit on them. You can get them easily. There's no limitations. And that's what a lot of the small to medium-sized restaurants and bars get. But that limits them to just, serving you a glass of wine or a bottle of beer. And that's great on a lot of occasions, but there's even more occasions where people go out and they'd like to have a cocktail with their meal. So that's where Premium Blend comes in. We bridge that gap between being able to serve a drink and not having the license to serve the drink, because our products are legally classified as wines because of the way we make them, but they taste like liquor because of the way they're used.
Now, is that a third license that you would need?
No, you would just get that simple beer and wine license that allows you to serve, like I mentioned, a bottle of beer, a glass of wine, because technically, as far as the law is concerned, and because of the formulation of the products and all the legalese, our products is considered wine. So from a legal perspective, you're serving somebody a glass of wine. Now, the fact that it tastes like a liquor and you mix up mixers in it to make a cocktail, that's totally up to the restaurant or the location to decide what to do with the product.
Okay, we'll get into that a little bit later, but let's give a little bit of background. You're in Miami, Florida, and you've got a Cuban background, Cuban-American background. Let's start off with Gino and Henry's backstory.
Well, basically, we were born in Cuba, so we are full-blooded Cubans. I came to this country, I was 5 years old, Henry was 9 years old. Our first home was up in Newark, New Jersey. My father was a musician, a singer-songwriter, and he wanted to work out of New York City. Obviously couldn't afford to live in New York City, having just, arrived in the country. So we lived in New Jersey, and he would go over to New York every day to go to work. So I personally started kindergarten in this country. So my entire education has been in English. So the fact that, as you say, I don't have an accent, well, that kind of makes a lot of sense, because at this point in my life, English is my first language, because I speak it so much more than I speak Spanish, even though I do speak very fluent Spanish, because growing up, if I didn't speak Spanish, I couldn't communicate with my parents or my grandmother. So I kind of got the best of both worlds there. So we've been here many years, started in New Jersey, then came down to Miami about 5 or 6 years after we moved to New Jersey. We moved down to Miami because, quite frankly, my parents just hated the cold weather. I mean, we're Caribbean animals. My father disliked it so bad, he wrote a song about the misery of living in cold weather.
I could relate to that. That's why I live in Southern California. I don't like cold weather.
You know exactly what I'm talking about.
What was your dad's impetus to come to get out of Cuba?
Well, basically, he couldn't. The main reason he came is that one word that everybody has heard of, Castro. He was actually anti-Castro. He was actually thrown in jail for a little bit, and he did not want to raise his kids in that, because in the communist system. We had an uncle who was who fought in the Bay of Pigs, and after he was released from jail in Cuba with the deal that Castro made with Kennedy, releasing all the Bay of Pigs prisoners and sent back to the United States, my father was very like under a microscope because his brother had come in there fighting with in the Bay of Pigs. So he was thrown in jail for a while, and then he was released, and he was a celebrity in Cuba. My father was actually very famous in Cuba, wrote a lot of hit songs, so he was well known, so he couldn't really fly under the radar. When Castro said, hey, anybody who wants to leave, he opened up a port called Camagüey, which is, if everybody knows Mariel, but Camagüey was, 15 years before Mariel. My uncle, who was living in Miami, he actually stole a boat, went down and picked us up and brought us back.